At 9:23 a.m. on January 14th, 1944, inside a quiet country mansion 40 miles west of London, a woman studying two ordinary photographs noticed something that shouldn't exist. The images showed the same stretch of French coastline, same beach, same German bunkers, same date. But the shadows were different, and those shadows would expose one of Nazi Germany's most carefully hidden secrets, a discovery that helped shape the success of D-Day. Her name was Constance Babington Smith, and this is the story of how shadows changed the course of World War II. Danesfield House. During the war, the British Central Interpretation Unit operated out of Danesfield House. Before the war, it was a luxurious estate. By 1944, it had become the beating heart of Allied photo intelligence. Inside its rooms, over 600 analysts, many of them women, examined thousands of aerial reconnaissance photographs every single day. Every bunker, every airfield, every rail yard. Their job was simple in theory. Look at photos. Find what the enemy doesn't want you to see. But in reality, it required genius-level pattern recognition. And Babington Smith had that rare gift. Her background before the war, she worked as a journalist for the Aeroplane magazine. She could identify aircraft models from a single blurred image. When she joined the Women's Auxiliary Air Force in 1939, she was quickly assigned to photographic intelligence. In 1943, she had already made one major discovery, identifying the German V-1 flying bomb in reconnaissance images before most analysts even knew what they were looking at. But what she discovered in January 1944 would be even bigger. The Atlantic Wall. By 1944, Hitler had built the Atlantic Wall, a massive defensive network stretching from Norway to Spain. Concrete bunkers, artillery batteries, machine gun nests. The Allies knew it was there. What they didn't know was how much of it was hidden underground. The shadow problem. The two photographs on Babington Smith's desk were taken weeks apart, one in late morning, one in mid-afternoon. The sun had moved, and because the sun had moved, the shadows had changed direction. In the first image, the bunkers looked ordinary, standard gun emplacements already marked on the Allied invasion maps. But in the second image, something was wrong. The shadows were too long, too wide. She measured them using photogrammetry, calculating height and depth from shadow length and sun angle. The visible concrete structure was only the surface. Beneath it, something much larger existed. Entrance ramps, hidden bunker doors, underground corridors. She counted 27 separate underground access points in just one position. They had been invisible for nearly 2 years, simply because photos were usually analyzed individually, not compared by shadow angle. The Germans hadn't hidden their defenses from cameras. They had hidden them from time. A terrifying realization if one position had hidden underground networks. How many others did? A full review was ordered. Thousands of photographs were reanalyzed, and the results were shocking. At Omaha Beach, bunker counts nearly tripled. At Utah, more than doubled. Across Normandy, over 600 previously unidentified defensive positions were discovered. The Atlantic Wall wasn't just surface concrete. It was a subterranean fortress. But then came another discovery. The bunkers were enormous, large enough to hold hundreds of soldiers. Yet German troop levels in France were declining. The defenses were massive, but many were undermanned. The Atlantic Wall was both real and partially a bluff, and that intelligence changed everything. Impact on D-Day, the intelligence went directly to Dwight D. Eisenhower at Supreme Headquarters, Allied Expeditionary Force. Invasion plans were adjusted, bombardment targets updated, engineers prepared specialized equipment for bunker assaults. When Operation Overlord began on June 6, 1944, Allied commanders knew where hidden bunkers were located. They knew which positions were heavily manned and which were weak. Over 156,000 troops landed that day. Casualties were high, over 9,000 killed or wounded. But without accurate intelligence, the losses could have been catastrophic. The difference between success and disaster was knowledge, and that knowledge came from shadows. The legacy of shadow analysis, Babington Smith's technique, became standard procedure. Every reconnaissance target was photographed at multiple times of day. Different sun angles, different shadows, different truths revealed. By April 1944, over 2,000 hidden German defensive positions had been identified across Europe using her methods. Modern satellite intelligence still uses shadow analysis today. The principles she applied with a ruler and magnifying glass in 1944 remain fundamental in 21st century reconnaissance. After the war, she received the American Legion of Merit. She later wrote Evidence in Camera, documenting the secret world of wartime photo intelligence. When historians later credited her discovery with influencing D-Day planning, she downplayed it. She said she simply noticed something unusual. But sometimes history changes not because of explosions, not because of speeches, but because someone looked closer. On a quiet January morning in 1944, inside a country mansion far from the battlefield, a woman studying shadows helped prepare the way for liberation, not with a rifle, not with a tank, but with observation and proof that even in war, light reveals the truth.